folks, welcome back to The Gifted Ones, and I'm your host, Liz Throp. Today we're going to touch on healing and all the different modalities that we can incorporate when healing. Our guest today is Brenda Lanigan. Brenda's holistic journey spans over 25 years. It began when her mom, Bea, was diagnosed for a second time with cancer. This led Brenda into studying Reiki, reflexology, crystals, nutritional counseling, and everything about colors. Her knowledge has put her to the test 10 years into her training when her father was diagnosed with a rare form of skin cancer. This regime of supplements and therapies enabled him to sail through his radiational treatments with none of the side effects. 10 years later, her dad is still in remission. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
In addition to her many teachings, she believes in an Aboriginal approach to healing as well as learning. She has a Batchelor in Aboriginal Adult Education. She has a vast experience and knowledge of trauma, mental health, and addictions, being trained as a crisis prevention intervention trainer, mental health first aid trainer, social service worker, and trauma training, working 10 years in nonprofit with homeless men with mental health addictions. Brenda's coaching and life skills programming all stem from a holistic approach. Brenda is a published author titled Islands in the Sun and the community book project, A Gift of Gratitude. A mother of two and a nana. If you've been to any of the area fairs, you've probably already met her, as she's in most of them selling her amazing products and crystals. Welcome, Brenda, to the show, The Gifted Ones. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Liz. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so glad you came. So let's get going right away, because we talked about some really neat things in your bio there, and I'm sure everybody watching is wondering, first and foremost, congrats on the work you did with your dad, but I'm sure everybody's wanting to know, what did you do to help him on his healing journey?
Well, I was able to put him on different supplements before he did his radiation. So when he found out that he had this rare form of skin cancer, it was in the fall, but he didn't want to be going through radiation during Christmas. So I had that time of a couple of months to be able to put him on different supplements to be able to help him before and support his body so that it could be strong enough to withstand the radiation. So he didn't do the radiation until January, and what they had said was he would start going for the radiation and he'd go back and forth daily for his treatments, but halfway through, which was a 6-week span,
right,
about halfway through he wouldn't be able to, he'd have to stay in the hospital because he wouldn't be able to go back and forth because he would have burns on the bottom of his feet, so he wouldn't be able to walk. And with the supplements that he went on, he was able to go right through and stay at home the whole time and drive every day. He was going to be having second-degree burns on his body. He was never uncomfortable. So he did lose his hair and his nails afterwards, but going through, he did not suffer like they were saying that he was going to, which was really great.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. So anybody who might be going through that right now, just maybe being diagnosed, would probably be a great idea for them to contact you. And
Absolutely.
We'll put your details at the end of the show so that anybody that is dealing with that right now can prepare themselves for something like radiation, because it is an incredibly horrific situation,
it is.
right?
And it's very hard on the body, but if you're able to support your body,
right,
and provide what supplements are, and it really depends on what supplements you get as well. So there's supplements that have a lot of fillers in them, so you really have to be careful on where you're getting the supplements from.
So like even going to like a well, for example, I shouldn't use them as an example, but you can get a multitude of, like, for example, B12. But there's like 30 brands of B12. So how do you choose, right?
Exactly.
And so you would have an in on how to pick the right one. But I remember we did a show, I can't remember which one it was right now, but where you can test the medication or the vitamin
Right.
by,
Muscle
falling
testing.
into it, or
Yep.
muscle testing. So falling into it is a good thing, falling
Yes.
away from it. So if you just stand there and hold the vitamin, so if you want to try that first, but definitely get in touch with you to help you on the journey of healing. So that's amazing, Brenda.
Well, there's a
Congratulations.
lifestyle analysis that I do as well, and it is separated into 9 categories, and there's 9 body systems. So there's just like very short sentences on, if this is an issue in your body. So it lets me know by the check marks that you make what the status of all your body systems are at. So what I like to do is start with the highest number, which means
Right.
that this is the lowest working body system, and support that and bring it up to where it needs to be. What happens in our body is when one system is down, then all the other ones try and make up for that to help that body system out. So everything's running at sort of,
Yeah.
some kind of level,
Yeah.
but they're not doing the job that they're supposed to do.
Right.
They're trying to compensate for all these other body systems that aren't working up to par. So what I do is I focus on that lowest body system, because what usually starts to happen when you start supporting that body system and it's able to do what it needs to do, then a lot of the symptoms or issues that you're having disappear.
Wow.
Because you are working on the core issue.
Exactly.
Instead of, okay, well, we're going to look at what's going on right here instead of what's really going on.
Yeah.
And then all the body systems will get into balance. And then after that supplement is done, then we do another one, see where all the levels are at, and then work on that, so that the main goal is to have everything up and working at the optimum level.
Beautiful.
And supplements are food for our bodies.
Exactly.
So they're made from plants. So our body recognizes that, and there's a synergy there between the energy of the plant and the energy of our body. So our body recognizes that as something that we can use
Right.
to heal.
Right.
A lot of the drugs do have their place, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they're synthetic, and when they're in our bodies, that's why there's so many side effects, because our bodies don't know what to do with it, because there's no synergy, there's no energy from that for our body to
Right.
recognize, ooh, that's what I need.
Yeah.
And let's get it in there to support our body. So they do have their place.
Absolutely,
I'm not
yeah.
saying anything bad, but a lot of times supplements can really help support that body and get it up where it needs to be for optimum health.
Well, at the end of the day, it's what we put in our mouth. And
Yes.
if we're not feeding the body, we're not doing preventative measures to avoid illness, right? So
Absolutely.
cancer can't happen in a healthy body.
No.
So I think is it alkaline? It has to be an alkaline.
It has to be alkaline.
In order for cancer not to exist. But if you're acidic and eating a lot of acidic things, drinking a lot of acidic things, you're creating a perfect environment for it to manifest. So, obviously you bring that education to people as well, so
Right.
that, if somebody has like a predisposed or like a family history of something like this, they should come and see you way beforehand to make sure that doesn't happen. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What I find too, it's not only the physical body that we need to look at, it's the self-awareness. So a lot of people have cancer and they go into remission, but if they're not looking within themselves to see what perhaps could have caused that,
Right.
and that can be, if you look at cancer, it eats away at the body. What does anger do?
Exactly.
It eats away at the body. So if there's somebody that has a lot of anger within them, and they're doing the supplementing their body and everything and supporting it that way, and they're not looking at those other components,
The emotional side of it.
absolutely, 10 to 1, that cancer will come back, because they
Yeah.
haven't looked at what's really going on and why they can't release that. So a lot of the diseases, which is a dis-ease.
Exactly.
It's our body is not at ease.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
And until we look at those things, then, you know, our physical body will suffer at some point if we don't start that self-reflection and looking within.
100%. 100%. Like, that is great advice, because, you know, if we could all be responsible for ourselves, but I think the problem is we lack responsibility for ourselves, which is why it's on such a rise right now. We want to have a quick fix with a pill, and or we ignore the signs, right?
Yes.
We all ignore the signs. So great advice, Brenda. Thank you. We also mentioned in your bio that you prefer a holistic approach as well as an Aboriginal approach to healing. Can you please explain to our viewers what that means exactly?
Absolutely. So as I was just mentioning, we have the physical component, we have the emotional component. So in Aboriginal healing, you have the medicine wheel. So it has the components of the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual parts of the body, and the circle makes us whole.
Okay.
So when we look at all these components together, they make up who we are. If we only look at the physical, then we are ignoring the mental aspect, the spiritual aspect,
Yes.
as well as the emotional aspect. So we've got one corner, but then the other 3/4 is unbalanced. So when you look at everything together as a whole, then that's what I look at anyways. So you have the physical, you work on the emotions and the mental, as well as the spiritual. They're all connected. Without those different things, without a belief system, or maybe you have a belief system that just doesn't work for you anymore, but you really don't know what to do, then you need to look at that instead of kind of putting it to the side.
Yeah.
Because it all works together. We're all parts of those things, and that's what makes us who we are. And the mental portion would be learning. Are you learning? Are you expanding your mind? Are you gaining knowledge? Are you connecting with people on a social level? Are you getting out there? If you're isolated at home and you're not learning, then that part of you dies as well.
Yeah.
So all these components,
That
when you
makes a
put
lot
them
of
together,
sense. Wow.
then helps you move forward and helps you heal. You need to have a social life. You need to have friends. You need to have connections, because being lonely, and I've seen it working in nonprofit, they just wither and, you know, they die.
Yeah.
And it's really sad. So we need to have that connection to others. We need to know that we matter.
Yeah.
And if we don't have that, then it just, you know, the rest of our body, you give up on.
You do.
So,
Exactly.
So
And I
it's all
think
very
that might
important.
be connected to a lot of the upswing in suicides recently.
Absolutely.
Like in the last few years. We are so technically connected, but not physically connected. And, you know, it's easy to be technically connected because you're not physically in front of somebody, but that energy exchange, the value in that energy exchange is so, it's uplifting. And I'm technically an introvert. People would not guess that about me, but I literally could hang out in my house all day and never leave, and
Right.
never see a soul, and just be completely in my bliss, which sounds terrible, right? But I'm in an extroverted world, and I've learned from a very early age that in order to be heard, you have to speak, right?
Right.
And so I got that early, thank goodness. But I still kind of want to revert back to that introverted girl from time to time. But you can see how it would be so easy to hang out on the internet and
Yes.
never communicate with a soul like in person. But I know the value of energy and energy exchange. So does that kind of fall in line with what the
Absolutely.
teachings are? Okay.
And
That
it's
makes sense.
also, when I worked in nonprofit, it was human touch.
That's huge.
Giving a hug.
Yes.
And we learn in school, you know, don't touch.
Yeah.
But when somebody's hurting
Yeah.
and they're open to getting a hug. There is nothing wrong
Yeah.
with human contact.
That's right.
It's showing that we care
I know.
and that they're loved and they're cared for.
Yeah.
And it's not anything weird or anything like that. It's
Exactly.
just human bonding.
I am a hugger.
Yes.
And when that whole thing went down with, oh my gosh, Biden, and he hugged that woman at work. Do you remember in the American situation? And Biden had hugged a woman and he was ridiculed for it because it was like considered sexual abuse. And I thought, oh my gosh, everybody that I greet, I'm like, get in here. Get in here for a hug, I just do it naturally. And I often think, probably should ask. I should say, is it okay if I hug you? But how do you do that, right?
Yeah.
I think we've kind of gone a little bit too far away from connectivity.
Absolutely.
Right? And I kind of blame the internet a little bit for that because we don't know how to be interactive anymore, right?
Yes, definitely.
It's very bizarre that we've gone that way, and it's so sad to me that
It is sad.
people can't have that hug thing. There's nothing meant by it other than love, right?
Yeah.
But I guess there are people that have taken it to other levels, which make it yucky,
for sure.
right? So, okay,
Absolutely.
well, that's really interesting, and I can see why that would be important for, especially when you were working in the nonprofit with the homeless men, and how they just need human contact just to feel
Absolutely.
alive, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to step into something completely different, and crystals. You're a big crystal lady.
Yes,
so
I am.
Anybody who knows you have like the most epic collection for sale all the time, and it's hard to walk past your table.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. What are your top 3 fave crystals for helping somebody with healing?
My top 3 would be quartz crystal. Absolutely. So if you think of a hierarchy of crystals, you have quartz crystal at the very, very top. So
Okay.
it is like, if you're just starting into crystals and you're like, I'm really not sure which crystal to go with,
Yeah.
quartz crystal is your number 1.
Okay.
So it is an all-over crystal. It does pretty much everything. It also amplifies any crystal that you put with it.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you say everything, because the viewers may not know,
Yeah.
describe everything that it does.
Well, it works on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual levels of the body. It works on your etheric field. It works on your chakras. So it works on every level of your body that you could imagine. It holds information. It provides information. It can give you messages. So all these things are wrapped up in a quartz crystal. So that is this one here.
Perfect. Yes, I'm glad you brought
Yeah.
an example.
So,
Hold it up so the camera can. Perfect.
and then right under the quartz crystal would be amethyst.
Yes.
So this one comes
That's
from Thunder
really
Bay.
pretty. It's all.
Yeah,
it's-
isn't that
it's
beautiful?
Gorgeous, that one.
Yeah, this one
Okay.
actually comes from the Thunder Bay mine. My daughter was going down into Michigan for something, and they were going to go back up. I'm like, you're stopping in Thunder Bay. You can pick me up some amethyst. Plus,
Exactly.
they went down and got me some hematite too, and things like that along the way back.
Perfect.
But yeah, this is so the amethyst is right under the quartz crystal, and that is an all-over healer. So
Okay.
it is just wonderful for calming. So if you're stressed a lot, holding an amethyst, keeping it with you, putting it in your environment even, that's fine. And it's also really good for people with addiction issues.
Oh, good to know.
So
Okay.
it really helps move forward and move past the addictive nature of whatever you're
Okay.
using. Then I have my selenite wand, and selenite is really, really good for sleeping. So when you look at the 3 of these, you've got your quartz, which amplifies anything else. It's an all-over healer. So even if you don't know what your body's needing and you're just not feeling well, quartz is good because it will help wherever it needs to.
Right.
Paired with the amethyst, which is also a healer, that's a really good combination. And then with the selenite, what that does is it helps you have a peaceful sleep.
Perfect.
You need to have a peaceful sleep in order to heal. Our bodies heal our bodies heal when we're sleeping.
Absolutely.
So if you're not getting a good night's sleep, then your body can't take the time and do the healing while we're sleeping. So that's why that's so important. And it's a really good crystal for cleansing other crystals. So it's
okay.
Yes.
So you would keep the selenite in the bedroom then?
I do. I have it right on my windowsill because my windowsill is right at my headboard. So.
Okay. And then the amethyst you would carry on your person, and the quartz crystal?
Yeah, or I put them beside my bed. I have
I can just imagine
everywhere.
I do too. I kind of have a crystal addiction as well. Yeah. I'm probably one step away from an intervention, but there's something about them.
They're beautiful.
They're beautiful. They're shiny things, right? Mm-hmm. What girl doesn't like a shiny? My husband always says I'm like a fish going towards shiny things, but it's you can't help yourself. They're just stunning, but. I'm sure you're going to explain this, but I find that I'm drawn to specific ones. So, I could be standing in front of a table of amethyst and I'm drawn to this one.
Yes.
So could you explain why that happens? Would you know why?
Well, it's funny because crystals usually pick the person.
Okay.
So when you're looking at, it's so funny when I have my shows and people come up and, well, I don't really know a lot about crystals, but I like them. Well, how can you not?
Yeah.
And then they'll come and I said, okay, well, just what are you drawn to? And so I really like that one, but it's not that
yeah.
They're all different and some are prettier than others. This is in its natural state, and then this is tumbled. So
right.
A lot of people like the tumbled ones. I like more of the natural ones.
I've never seen a tumbled one before.
Oh, no?
Amethyst. That was my first ever.
Oh, my goodness.
Tumbled amethyst. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all shapes and sizes. So I'll say okay, and I have a book which lists, it gives a description of what that crystal does. So I'll say okay, what crystal is choosing you. So they'll pick it and I go, now read the description. And they're like, wow, I need that. Do you have any bigger ones?
You're going to tape them to my entire body. Exactly. That's awesome.
So the crystal, our bodies, as I mentioned with the herbs, resonate. Crystals have energy because they're from the earth. So they have an energy that our body recognizes. So our body lets us know, hey, you need that.
Yeah.
And there's that connection made. So our bodies will go and grab that even though we don't know why. And I have a story when my youngest daughter was 4 months old. She had this rash that I couldn't get rid of.
Oh.
And I went to an iridologist and she says, oh, she needs some herbs. I'm like, okay. So she has all these liquid herbs. So she goes, sit your daughter down and she'll pick the herbs that she needs. Now, this was just as I was getting into the healing. So I'm like, okay. So I sat her down and I swear, my daughter was 4 months old at the time. She's looking at those and I swear it looked like she was reading them. So then she picks one. She could have picked any of them.
Yeah.
So she goes, okay, turn around and I'll rearrange them. She picked the exact same one.
Oh my gosh.
So that just shows that her body recognizes what it needs. And over time, with, well-meaning parents and things, well, we're not the professionals.
Yeah, exactly.
We are the professionals. We live in this body.
Yes.
We know it best.
Yeah.
We need to get back to a time where we can recognize and our bodies can recognize, that's not going to work for us.
Yes.
Let's try this because this is going to help us.
Amen. My goodness. Wow. That's amazing because, my grandchildren come into my house every time they come and rearrange all my crystals for me. It's so fun. And I find them in the most obscure places. I have big ones and they just move them around and then sometimes they'll take them home. And Stephanie, my daughter, will call me and say, Mom, I found your quartz. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. They're allowed to do that. Yeah. I want them to feel but I've taken them to fairs and let them go nuts at a table. Pick whatever you think you want. And it's like you said, they know exactly what they need.
Absolutely.
So that's so funny. And they always go for quartz and amethyst. So funny, right? And I do have the selenite in the room, so it's perfect. Like, I'm glad to hear I'm on track.
There you go.
So I'm going to take you to the next question because we have like limited time. Unfortunately, I could talk to you for days, but you've brought your color light therapy with you over on the table there. But you also, we described in your bio how you do color therapy and color light therapy. So could you explain to our viewers what that is? Because I've never heard of that before until I spoke to you.
Well, as we know, colors are everywhere.
Right.
They're in what we wear. If we are having an off day and, we have a favorite color that we wear, it makes us feel good.
Yeah.
That's pretty much color therapy.
Okay.
The sun has all the colors of the rainbow, and even the ones that we can't see. And without the sunshine, we would die.
Right.
We need the sunshine. We need all those beautiful rays to come down on us and heal us. In the wintertime here in Niagara, what do a lot of people get? Seasonal affective disorder, due to the fact that there's not enough sunshine.
Yeah.
So with color breathing or color therapy, with color light therapy, it helps with seasonal affective disorder because it can give you those colors that are missing when it's winter time.
That's so cool.
It is. It's just awesome.
So do you want to show us like real quickly?
Absolutely. So this is the pen light flashlight, and then I have all the different discs. Now they're made out of crushed minerals, and they don't give off any heat.
Okay.
But some people will feel heat. They might feel coolness or tingling. And I do a lot of color light facials because our body is mirrored in our face. Okay. So by putting the different colors on our face, you're able to help the body heal within.
Wow.
So there's just, the possibilities are endless of what color lights can do.
And how long does a therapy like that last? Like
about 15 minutes.
Wow. So it's a quick and, in and out kind of, you're not there for hours. I'm going to have to share that with a bunch of my friends who suffer from that seasonal situation, because it's awful for them.
It is.
Like, it's such a depressant, right?
Yes.
Wow. That's amazing. Oh, I'm going to have to come and get some of that action in the winter.
And it's nice because it can be done long distance.
Right. It can be. So you don't have to be present.
No.
I like that. Can you explain how that works?
Absolutely. So my youngest daughter just had a baby. So when...
Congratulations.
Thank you. So exciting.
No doubt.
When she was in the hospital after she was born, she had a lot of mucus and she was having a lot of difficulty breathing. Aww. And the doctors and nurses tried different things, but it wasn't helping. So she was going to have to stay in there extended periods of time. And so it was really scary because she was just struggling to breathe. Yeah. So I went home that night and, just imagine my little granddaughter laying there and did color lights on her and just to release and all that mucus. And when I went back the next day, she was breathing fine.
Oh, that's amazing. So the intention.
Yes.
Energy is effortless and easy.
It is.
Can pass miles and miles and miles.
For sure.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that, maybe that happened so that you could recognize that it could be used
absolutely
at a distance. Right?
Yes.
All these things that happen to make us aware of stuff. Well, you've spent your life supporting and healing others. What do you do to support yourself as you're clearly a healer and empath, and so you put a lot of energy into others? What do you do to support you?
Well, I listen to my body. And when I'm tired, I take a nap. Even if it's in the middle of the day, I will take a nap. I do color lights on myself. When I'm at any type of show that has Reiki or massage, I am the first one in line.
Yeah,
because I love getting it done.
I know.
And just spending time with friends. And
perfect.
I was just up at a retreat last weekend and just had a wonderful time and just to relax with like-minded people and just connecting with others is just a wonderful way to reset yourself and to just connect with others. It's just a wonderful thing.
100%. Oh, that's great advice. Now, the last question here, and it's kind of a doozy, so, I'm kind of putting you on the spot, right? If the world was a perfect place and going in the right direction, how would you see people healing in the future besides preventative things? that obviously harm us.
It would be nice if everybody started listening to their body
Yeah.
and believing in themselves
Yeah.
and doing that self-care. It's just huge. So many people that I find that I work with don't believe enough in themselves that they know what's right. And that's really sad. So if everybody started looking within and going, I've got all the answers, I've known it all the time, and I can heal my body,
Yes.
then that's where the healing is going to start. And then they can share that with others. And
That's
on and
beautiful.
on.
I think the biggest disconnect, especially in this industry, our industry, right? Like holistic industry, because we're putting out for others so much, we tend to forget about us. So anybody watching that is an empath or is a healer, you absolutely have to take time for you. Like it's critical, because your output of energy is all the time. And if you're not regenerating, it's just a bad road to go down, right?
Well, it's that healer, heal thyself.
Right.
It's easy to tell people what to do, but then doing it yourself is a little different.
So taking your own advice, that's
Yes.
huge, right? Well, thank you so much, Brenda. It's been such a great chat that we've had, and I've learned so much. But I'm going to close the show with this. When life gives us lemons, don't just make lemonade. Study on the healing properties of the lemon and use them to help you overcome the things in life that ail you. They say that ignorance is bliss, and I call bull crap on that statement. It should read, ignorance is lazy. If you have the power to educate yourself, do it, because intelligence is bliss. Thanks for watching, The Gifted Ones, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks so much.